Hey, what's going on, nerds? It's your boy, Cameron Abbott, formerly the unsexiest comedian, currently the Reverend Cameron Abbott. And I'm here with none other than lucky lefty loggy himself, Logan Wilkinson. Logan.
Yeah, it's me. Hi, how you doing, Cameron?
Doing good, doing good. So we're here at PAX East 2020.
Mm-hmm.
At the very tail end of it.
Yeah.
It has been a very long yet very quick weekend.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're here talking about Raji, which is a game from, well, you know what? Why don't you tell people what Raji's all about?
Yeah, so Raji is a kind of action-adventure game set in ancient India, kind of in the world of Indian mythology, all the different kind of gods, goddesses, and demons. I think is very kind of PS2 God of War inspired. I think there are a lot of shades of that kind of evident and visible in the game. Yeah. And it is beautiful. It is the story of kind of a young woman's kind of journey into this world. The trailer and also the demo itself tease, I think, a lot of what kind of themes and ideas might be in the story, but it's still pretty vague. I think you don't necessarily know what's kind of propelling her on besides her brother and trying to find him. But it is very good. It's beautiful, like art direction style. And I think the setting and location is just so unique and distinct from what we see a lot of in games.
I would definitely agree. We both got a chance to play the game.
Yeah.
I stumbled across it on the show floor today and was just kind of taken away by just how interesting the setting is. As somebody who has a deep love of mythology, there is a horrifying underrepresentation of Hindu mythology in games or art or literature in the West in general. Yeah. You have to watch these ridiculously over the top, like, there's over the top, and then there's like Bollywood Hindu mythology movie over the top. And so it's hard to get other people interested in that. And that's something that I was questioning when I asked them the question. I said, okay, well, what was your approach to how to make this accessible to people when no, I'll let you go ahead.
Yeah, I think for me, they succeed because the kind of story ideas and themes they're going after are so intriguing and so unique, right? Like, I think if the game was just God of War in ancient India, that would already be an incredible pitch and a super exciting thing. And in a lot of ways it is, I think, combat-wise, and in terms of exploration and what you're kind of going through, it is very similar to God of War. But I think the difference is that you're not an angry man, almost deliberately by design, right? You are a kind of more soft-spoken but very strong female character, and a kind of a classic role reversal of a lot of video game history. You are a strong female character in search of a man, right? Like, you're looking for kind of the prince to rescue, for lack of a better word. And I think that dynamic really propelled me on. I think kind of getting to hear different gods and goddesses having a conversation about who you are and if you're strong enough to go about the journey that you're kind of starting on, was super interesting and engaging. I think the kind of quick cut scenes they do of like parchment paper kind of thing and like ink blots.
Ink blots and the puppeteering.
Yeah, is super, super cool and like I think very unique from what I've seen a lot of games do. I think it adds a way more authentic feeling view of that kind of world and time period, right? I think the character designs are really interesting, right? Like, we don't get to see a lot of, I think, Hindu mythology monsters, for lack of a word. And I think getting to see them and the kind of the demons they have and how they are kind of viewed and shaped is really interesting. And then most of all, the game's combat is really fun and engaging. Like, the game's combat definitely reminds me of God of War.
Like the triple combo button.
Yeah, absolutely, right? And I think what's cool about the combat, though, is that it's cleverer than you kind of think it is, right? And how you have to kind of chain and find particular ones for certain enemies that work better or less, and like adding in like the little like javelin throw thing they have for like the far range, kind of longer range enemies. Like, the game's very well done. I think it's Jarrett Green from IP had a really good description of it where he said he doesn't know if it's the best thing he's played at PAX, but it's unquestionably the most interesting and it's unquestionably the one filled with the most potential and promise. And I think this game just has so much potential and promise to be a really fresh, original, creative game with a really engaging story and characters, and then really well-rounded, fleshed-out combat systems as well.
Couple of quick questions I have for you. How did you feel about kind of like the design of the Asuras in there?
I think so. Honestly, like I guess my answer to that is I think the designs of everything was like excellent, right? Like I think because it does this. The animation style, I think for me is one where, and I mentioned to Frank, like it's more akin to like the PSP God of War games in terms of like the view you're looking at and how the character is kind of sized on screen. And I think again it goes back to it being very God of War, but where God of War is obviously rooted in a Greek kind of Western art style. I think palette, this very much is not. Like I think it's much more influenced by kind of Indian, obviously, art design and culture, and I think it's represented throughout all the character models, all the character designs. I think the statues and like kind of architecture going through is also beautiful, and again, so distinct from what we've seen in so many games, which are just more often than not set in kind of the western half of the world.
That is an excellent point. I was actually speaking with one of the art directors for the game who actually runs environmental art. Yeah. And he talked about kind of the interesting decisions they've had to make. One, they're a team of, I think he said, like 10 people. Yeah. Or their art design team is like 10 people. And they're a small studio based in India. And I was talking to him, and he mentioned that before, when they were doing cutscenes, they had full 3D cutscenes they were trying to work on. But at some point, they looked at the scope of their game, and they had to make a decision on what to cut. And the cutscene storyboarding basically got thrown out the window. Yeah. And then one of their art directors or artists came up with the idea of the puppet one, did a demo of it, and they said, here we go, let's bring all these art boards back, or the storyboards back, and we'll just do the storyboards with that. And I actually think that the storyboarding on it
is incredible.
It's incredible, but also it conveys this compassionate, strong woman who is caring for her brother, and her brother is taken by these asuras, and it's so cool to see that happen. It's so cool to see kind of like
that role reversal, for lack of a better word, right?
Role reversal for sure, but also like the journey she's going to have to go on to become even stronger is cool. But what do you think about the idea of this? Like, we have seen now it is a total cultural norm to have a female protagonist. And now we're starting to see the influx of protagonists who are female but also people of color. Like, what is, like, my perspective is like the more diversity we have, the better stories we're going to be able to tell. But kind of being able to experience a story that is very based in traditional Hindu mythology through the eyes of a young Hindu woman. What are your feelings about that? Because I think it's awesome.
Yeah, I think for me, it's not even that. It's the fact that it is such a, right? Like, I name any Indian characters from a video game you've ever played, right? And like, I bet you wouldn't fill up even half of one like hand, right? Like, I think like there's just so few and far between, and it's a population of 1.3 billion people, and they're just so underrepresented in video games, and like in a lot of art forms in general, to be fair, in the Western world. And so I think it is a nation of such rich kind of cultural history and art and storytelling and mythology, ones that go back like millennia. And I think there's so much fertile ground there to tell really rich, engaging, compelling, complex stories with grounded human characters. And so if that's what we're going to get here, and it very much is, that excites me. Like, it excites me to get stories that aren't just the same as ones we've been told over and over and over again, right? Like, I love Greek mythology. It's one of my favorite things, but also I'm very familiar with Greek mythology. I understand, I got it. I get Zeus. And I think getting to be told stories that are different from the ones we grew up with, or different from the ones that we kind of have experienced ourselves, always leads to kind of a more insightful and thoughtful and empathetic experience for the people playing and consuming the stories in any art form. And so I'm obviously very pro for it. And this story is super engaging and super cool, even just the small glimpses that we've kind of seen of it.
All right, well, unless there's anything else to... Raji comes out second quarter.
Yep, second quarter this year.
This year on, and I thought it was only going to be on Steam, but he told me it's on everything.
Yeah, on everything.
PC, Switch, PS4, Xbox One.
Get them trophies.
Get them trophies, get them achievements. Enjoy your time with this game.
Yes.
We both definitely did.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's it for us here. So if you want to follow us, you can go ahead and follow Logan on Twitter at LeftyLoggy. You can follow myself at Rev Cabot. That's 2 B's, 2 T's. You can follow That Nerdy Site on all social media platforms. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/thatnerdysite. And for better or worse, get out of here, nerds.